It was difficult news for Scottish Labour at the weekend. Two former First Ministers suggested the party is in crisis.
Areas like Govan in Glasgow have long been seen as traditional Labour heartlands. Indeed, it's a former home of Labour founder Keir Hardie. But it's also here in Glasgow where a majority of voters backed independence on September the 18th. Recent polls suggest Scottish Labour is now behind, and senior members of the party say it's lost its way.
Some claim the party now needs to become autonomous from Labour in Westminster and be much bolder with its vision.
We can't have the old politics, the old silo politics, the old mentality that we hate the SNP. Let's stop hating parties. Let's actually get even, as they say. And the best way to get even is to have a solid platform of policies that Labour can campaign on. If we do that, we can be successful. But if we decide to keep our heads stuck in the sand, then we'll make no progress whatsoever.
He said it needs to take note of the growing popularity of other parties.
This is the point that Labour just can't get. There's no entitlement to a vote now. Labour has got to realise that every vote has got to be fought for. We see the Greens improving membership, the SNP improving membership. Where is our membership? Sadly, it's very low.
Some think Scottish Labour's message needs to be more distinctive.
There's certainly a move towards a far more democratic settlement all across the UK, not just in Scotland. But in isolation, Labour in Scotland has to stand up as the Scottish Labour Party for people in this part of the UK, and that's what we have to do in a far clearer way.
Some say it's time for Labour to spell out its core messages.
And the best way to dictate the political agenda is to say to the SNP, you claim you're Social Democrats, show us a single social democratic thing you've done. You say that you're a left to centre party, then why are the only benefits you ever produce for middle class people? Here's our policies for helping working class kids get a better education, get to university and get better jobs afterwards.
Scottish Labour leader Joanne Lamont has been dogged by rumours in recent months that she will not survive as leader. But not everyone agrees.
The leader of the Scottish Labour Party is Joanne Lamont. She will be the leader in 2016 and beyond that. So there's no debate around the future of the Scottish Labour Party's leadership. Joanne's the leader. We know where we're going. We're going to try and convince people that we're making the best case for the future of this country, and we'll get on with that.
But there's not much time left before the general election.
Labour certainly can't afford to be complacent. There's some polling evidence suggests they are perhaps at risk of losing a whole barrel load of seats to the SNP, which is what would happen if the SNP were well ahead of Labour in Scottish voting intentions. But that evidence isn't consistent, and we should remember at the end of the day, people are less willing to vote for the SNP, more willing to vote for Labour in a Westminster than in a Holyrood contest.
The party says it's not divided, but it's the voters that they'll have to convince.